Hey guys, let's make 2 loaves of bread. Welcome back. I am going to show you all how to make 2 white sandwich loaves. These are the best loaves that you're going to have that you make in your house. And it's a super easy recipe and you're probably going to be making it every week like I do for my family. We're going to make 2 loaves today. I'm going to show you all how to make it. Super easy recipe.
The yellow one or the blue one? I really like the blue side. But I'm kind of feeling the yellow side today. If I can figure out how to do it. So cute.
The first thing you're gonna do is get yourself some hot water. And I say hot because I use Rapid Rise yeast. Rapid Rise, I feel like works a lot quicker because it means rapidly rising. So you want to get yourself this fast-acting Rapid Rise yeast, not active dry. No, we don't use that. That's for if you have like 100 years to bake a loaf of bread, but we don't. We're trying to make it in a few hours. And that's how you're supposed to. Rapid Rise yeast though. And it can stand up to like 120 degree water. So this is gonna be the best. I'd say when you're running your water or if you're heating it up like on the stove, go for like something that you can tolerate, but it's too hot to bathe in, like that. So you wouldn't stick your entire arm in it, but it's tolerable. So you wanna get yourself something like that. The first thing that we're gonna do is pour the 2 cups of water in this stainless steel bowl. It's gonna hold that heat in there. And then we're gonna get the Rapid Rise. So I have like an entire, I'm gonna show you actually. I have an entire like supply of these little packets. You know, at the store they have them like in bulk, like for you to just, pick, the 3 that it comes in the pack, but I have the entire box. I have the entire box and I mean it. There are about, I want to say 20 of these in here. And then I want to say there's 3 attached to one, yeah. So I have a bunch because I make bread all the time. But I wanted to make sure that I had enough to use. Anyways, 2 cups of water in a bowl. Now the recipe that I am using calls for a tablespoon. You want to use a tablespoon of the Rapid Rise yeast. And of course under the heat it's not going to evaporate. I always end up having to use a second pack. So I always have like a Ziploc bag, one that's already been opened, because I want to make sure that it's an entire tablespoon. So I'm going to open my second pack that I have in my bag, and then when it's time for me to make some more, I just end up putting it back in this bag, and then I'm done. So now I have an entire tablespoon, and then just a little bit of sugar, like they say a pinch, and that's exactly what we're doing, just a pinch. It's gonna dissolve, and then stir it up, mix it up just a little bit. So we're gonna let this rest for like 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna give the yeast and the water and the sugar a chance to bloom. So it's gonna look like, it's alive, but the yeast is alive. Once it touches, water and oxygen and all those things. So I'm gonna let this rest. I'm gonna make myself some coffee because I haven't had coffee yet. And then we're gonna come back and see what it looks like.
Look, it's blooming. That's so cool. This is what you want your yeast and your water mixture to look like. It's so cool. This is what it needs to look like before you mix your flour in. And then the next part is so easy. This is pretty much the hardest part, I feel like.
Huh? I'm recording a video, so. Yes. Shh.
Okay. Mommy, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so I let my yeast bloom. And one way that you'll know that if you have bad yeast, like if you've had yeast in your cabinet for like years or months or whatever, your yeast can go bad. So if it doesn't bloom in the 5 to 10 minute span, then it's bad yeast and you need to find some more. So while that was blooming, I went ahead and got the rest of my ingredients together. So I have roughly like 5 cups of bread flour in here. I feel like it's appropriate to use bread flour. I've seen people use all-purpose flour, but I feel like bread flour is gonna make it, you know, more doughy and yeasty. And there's also a little more protein and fiber in bread flour than there is in all-purpose flour. And then I have a 1/4 of a cup of sugar that we're gonna pour in there too. And then I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And then I'm gonna measure out 2 teaspoons of salt. There's nothing to this part. I mean, you're just dumping all the stuff in. But you are just gonna do the flour gradually. You're gonna do that last after you add all this stuff in here. Let me get my coffee out of the way so I don't put that in there. Anyways, okay, I usually do the sugar first. Sugar, and then the oil, and then a couple of teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. And you also want to make sure that your surface is clean because we're gonna turn out the dough from the bowl onto your surface so that we can knead it. Also make sure you don't have any rings or anything on either, and that your hands are clean. So I just like to go in with maybe like roughly 3 cups to start off with. So I have my dough whisk, which y'all seen this before. This is what I use to mix the dough with my sourdough bread. So we're gonna mix this. So you see how that's looking now? It's not necessarily, you know, thick and doughy the way we like it, so we're just gonna add some more. And if you've made bread before or you've seen it made before, you pretty much know what it's supposed to feel like and also look like. And I'll say for this recipe, you want to be able to move it around, like it's not sticking too much to your hands, but it is gonna be a little bit sticky. So the recipe that I've been using, I just got it off Pinterest, and I've just done, you know, like tweaking here and there to it. When you make something and then it doesn't, you know, quite go the way the recipe says, you just kind of pivot. So with this one, it does say 4 to 5 cups of flour, but I don't ever feel like I always need the entire 5 cups. It's always like 4.5 or like sometimes even 4. It just depends on the day. But like I said, you're gonna pivot to the way that, you know, you like it to be. So work this gluten a little bit, and we're gonna keep adding just a little more. I'd say we're almost to the point where we can turn it onto the surface and knead it. But it's basically, it's harder than a shaggy dough, but I'd say that maybe like a 1/2 cup more would probably make it ready for the surface. I know that wasn't 1/2 cup, but that was like 3/4 a cup. We're gonna keep doing that. See, now it's like harder to move around, but this flour in here is gonna get mixed in. So I'm gonna go ahead and retire my dough whisk. So now we're getting to the dough. And all that we're doing here is working that gluten that's in this flour that we have. And this is gonna give the bread its shape. So if you don't work your gluten, it'll just be like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it'll be just like your thick kind of like a cakey bread. And maybe that's something that you like, but this is gonna make it stand on its own. So this is what we have now. I'd say it's ready to turn onto the surface. And we don't even have to do this for a long time. Like I've been talking to you this whole time, no edits, well, probably some, but this is real time kneading. And maybe you'll be able to see the way I do it a little better when I turn it onto the surface. Flip it, plop it, And now we're gonna do it with 2 hands. So it's really funny. So when I was in art school, right after I graduated from high school, one of the first things that we did for the second semester was we worked with clay. And kneading dough is the same as like when you knead clay together. And I just thought that was so cool. It's just a mirror of 2 things that I really like to do: cooking, baking, and art. So you're just gonna do this. It's still a little sticky, but it's not too bad. And you're gonna find that all the flour that I even put on this surface is gonna work its way into the dough. So that's what we want. That's it. It's not hard at all. Just a regular dough ball. So get you another clean bowl, and you're just gonna plop it right in there. Just plop it in there like so. I'm not too crazy. I have a load of clothes in the washing machine and the dryer, and that's my warmest place in the house, of course, because my dryer is going. If you have like a cooler environment in your house, I know here in Texas we always have the AC, on because it's so hot. But if you have like a place like an oven, you could maybe preheat it to like 170 and then shut it off, and then throw your dough in there because you want it to rise. And it's supposed to rise here. It needs to at least double in size in an hour. And then if it doesn't, then your environment isn't warm enough. So try and place it somewhere where it's really warm, and then just leave it. Come back in an hour. Paper towel over. Just do it like that. And I'm literally about to just go throw it in my laundry room because that's the warmest place in the house. All right, as you can see, our dough has risen, doubled in size. It's been about an hour. I've got 2 loaf pans because remember I was telling y'all that it yields 2 loaves, which is absolutely necessary to have because your bread is gonna go quick. I'm gonna dust the surface a little bit with some flour. And we're gonna punch it down. And we're gonna flip it on. And get all of that because it's dough. All right, we've got our bread. We're gonna kind of flatten it a little bit with our hands. You can use this. This is just a bench scraper, but if you don't have a bench scraper, you can just use a knife. And I'm just gonna cut it right down the middle. Keep flattening it out. And I like to just roll it up. Just roll it up. Kind of stretch it out a little bit to the width of your pan. I'm just gonna put it right in there. It's in that butter pan and it just looks like that. Rolled up. 2 bread loaves. Now I like to sit these again. You're gonna put these in a warm place. You know is going to rise very quickly because it only took it to double in size maybe for about an hour. But I like for my bread dough to rise at least to right here. So that'll take me maybe like a few hours. I'm about to go and paint for a little bit to do some homework. But by the time I come back from doing that, my bread will at least be this high. And then when it gets in the oven, it's going to get even higher. So, don't overdo it, but, do something for the next few hours. Check on your bread in your warm place, and then it should be where it's supposed to be. To the dryer. Just got back from the church, and I'm about to show y'all the loaves. I don't know how big they are. The reaction is going to be pure because I have not seen them. I'm about to go into the laundry room and see how big they are. I'm kind of scared. They did great! Boom. So they look awesome. They've risen just enough. This is great. Okay, now we're gonna preheat the oven to 350 and they're gonna bake for about 30 minutes. I usually do 30 minutes. Uh-oh. Is it falling? I banged it down on there too.
Mommy, where's my bag?
But it's gonna rise, it's fine. But these are gonna bake for 30 minutes and then we're gonna put butter on top of them, let them cool, and then fold them out and then put them in little bags.
So I went ahead and put them in the oven while it's still preheating, just to give it some more rise really quick. But once it preheats, then I'll set my timer to 30 minutes.
Okay, the timer just went off. And there we have 2 loaves of bread. This was a little lopsided, but it's okay. It's gonna taste so good. All right, it's time to pack these up. This is just one of the best parts about doing it because you're gonna be giving these, or maybe you're not. Because remember I said that, you can bake 2, freeze 1, or not, depending on how much bread you eat throughout the week. But I'm gonna give one of these to my brother and sister-in-law. And it's just so fun doing it this way because it's just like real bread in the store. So fun. And it's completely cooled down now, so it's not, gonna steam in this bag. But even if it did, you just take it out and let it dry up. This bread can definitely last about 5 days. Any longer, or if you feel like you're gonna have, some left over, just freeze it. That's probably the best option. And I have these little bread ties, the plastic ties, and it says especially for you. There you go.